I,
Blessings, everyone. So we are on to our next change maker. And I have to say, she has a special place in my heart. She has been on this journey with me for a really long time. I don't even know how many years, but I know her work is fantastic. She has actually worked with both of my adult children in her coaching, and I have seen such an amazing just growth and evolution and just stepping into their sovereignty as young adults. And it's been really fun to see the reflection of her work through my kids, which is, that's such a special place for me because I mean, my kids are pretty awesome, but she has just like let that awesomeness come out in a way that I have never seen before. So I just celebrate her and the work that she's doing. So without further ado, welcome, Liane. And why don't you just let us know a little bit about who you are, and then I'll just let you go right into your presentation.
all right. Well, I'm excited. I'm plugged in right now. So if I'm talking really quickly, anybody who's worked with me, just absorb the energies, and I trust that you're going to get exactly what you need from this experience. And I'm super pumped and excited because I've been shown what you're all about to get, and it is really exciting. So I'm just going to talk and see where the divine takes this. To give you a little bit of history, like a lot of you, I was born into this world, definitely feeling very different from, I guess, the collective, and just figuring out my journey, and with all these experiences and absorbing all these programs that were passed on to me through society, my family, and even having been in relationships. And then I had even a near-death experience, which brought me into, okay, it wasn't my time to go. I should have died. I didn't die. So what's next? And then that's when it brought me into this place where I finally got the family. I thought if I had the family that I wanted, that I would be whole and complete. But guess what? That hole was actually literally a hole in my energetic field. And so then I asked, I said, okay, show me. I know you're there. I always knew the love would pour through me. And then the divine started to pour through. And it was at that point that I basically became an Alice in Wonderland. I hate to throw these stories, but it felt like I was going down the rabbit hole. And I knew that once I started going down that rabbit hole, there was no turning back. And so I ended up having more life experiences. I started with meditations and getting all kinds of attunements and coding, working with people like Lori Spagna and other change makers in the world. I had the opportunity to work with shaman down in South America. I received some tremendous gifts there, two of which, one was where my crown opened up, and I was able to start channeling. And I received all kinds of blessings from that, and knowing that these gifts would help support this world, and I didn't know how. And then, which led me into, I also had the beautiful experience of becoming divine frequency. And I don't know how to explain this into words other than I was that love essence that was spoken about before. It was one of those, I'm gonna swear because it's terrible. It's the only way I can express it. It's like, holy fuck, I am God. I am God. And I was able, as soon as I said that, there's this light bulb that went inside of me, and I saw matter and energy merge into one. And for probably 3 hours, I was able to hold this frequency beyond 5D. I don't know how else to explain it, because I was unity. I was everything and nothing all at the same time. Everything was perfect. It was beautiful. And then I asked, okay, why did I get to see this? Because I was able to prove that we can hold this light body, this high consciousness in physical form, but the world wasn't ready for it yet. I wasn't ready for it yet. So then I came back, okay, this is great. How do I integrate it? In comes Jules and the coaching. And then it just kind of snowballed from there. And what I love about Jules' work is that she really is different in that she really empowers each and every one of us to connect with that divinity that's within us. And what I love about coaching is that it's so supportive and encouraging, and it's about really cheering you on to step into that divinity that's within you. And these last couple of days have been really special because I've been able to get all kinds of beautiful reflections, especially yesterday. I was able to witness, and it was brought up today as well, that we are living in these two worlds right now. And how do we navigate these two worlds as conscious beings? And it is about these separate energies and then coming into wholeness and breaking these agreements of separation that are being held in a collective. I witnessed my family members living in fear, and it was able to trace the energy, and it always comes back to safety, needing to belong, safety, that birthright to exist, to be here. So one second, I'm just going to center myself because I could feel the energies just exploding out of me. So yes, it's just that. It's about connecting. How do we navigate this world? And it is about finding that oneness, that wholeness within ourselves. And really applying all these tools that we have learned, and specifically like the knowing where we are in the levels of consciousness, holding the elements, and bringing that into our everyday life. So today I want to invite a new perspective. And we're going to explore the ego and how we can basically break that agreement of separation with the ego and ourselves, our divine selves. I'm being guided that we're just going to go into the process. I have a feeling that it's going to create all kinds of dialogue and conversations afterwards. So let's just go into it and let the divine take us through this experience. And I'm just going to have you place your hands on your heart for now, just as we connect to our energies. And then if you want to release your hands, because it is a little bit of a process, that's fine. I want you to get comfortable. But for now, just breathe into your heart, relax your shoulders. Create space between your shoulders and your ears. Give yourself permission to just receive, knowing that we're all in this beautiful, loving, protective container, and that the divine is supporting us into our next. And now I'm going to ask you to go into your heart and connect to the frequency, the energies of ego. And just feel into what that is for you. Who are you? Go into that identity, even though a lot of us have probably broken away from this. This is our chance to play, let be, and let go. Because the truth is that our ego has been a part of this journey all along. And it has an energy. It is real. It has a voice. And it has a right to exist and belong as well. So I invite you to now breathe into this frequency and just notice as the observer. And you can release your hands now if you want and get comfortable. And breathe in that blue-white light in through your nose, tracing the brain down the spine, raising the frequency of your spinal fluid. In through your nose, tracing the brain down the spine and out your mouth. And then bring that beautiful energy into your heart space. And it is here that I invite you. That is not your body. That is not your mind or your thoughts. That is energy that fluctuates in vibration. And I ask you to step out of your heart and turn around and look at you, yourself, the individual, having this beautiful experience on earth. And just notice that you're connected to this beautiful cord of crystally blue-white light that connects your energy to the heart of you, yourself, and this body, this avatar that is you. And I want you to step alongside of that body that is you, that being, that consciousness, that ego that is you. And just hold its hand. And you're going to go on a journey going backwards. And we're going to go along the timeline of your life. So as you go backwards, moving along that timeline that is your life, just notice all the experiences that you had going back in time. Maybe there are moments where you were pushed to do things that you didn't want to do, or you were elevated to heights that you didn't think that you could go to. Notice the conversations you had, the people you encountered, the places you went to. Witness all the programs that were taught to you, the stories that made up this beautiful life. There's no right story, there's no wrong story, it just is a beautiful series of experiences, all the way back to that first breath when you came into this world. I'm just going to give you a few moments here so that you can really feel in to this experience that you've had here on earth up until this point in time. Beautiful. And grab on to that little baby's hand and start to walk back to this time now and witness that being grow back into its now. and then come back face to face. Your divine self, this energetic being, this divine self that is facing you. And I want you to look into the depths of that self. And tell it, I'm sorry. I'm sorry for the separation that I created between you and I. Please forgive me. Please forgive me for not believing in you. Please forgive me for resisting you. Please forgive me for seeing you as separate. I love you. You are whole and complete and divinely perfect. You came onto this job to help me, to push me to this evolution that I am, to find the divinity in me. You helped me preserve my right to exist, my right to belong, my birthright to be loved. I love you. I honor you. And I thank you. And now I have an invitation for you. Because when we work as one, we are unstoppable. When we merge as one into the wholeness and oneness that we are brighter and bigger than the human mind can comprehend. And in this next, we have an opportunity to step into oneness and work together, because you are my soulmate. You are the greatest love that will ever come into my life. You are my right-hand mate. From now on, I'm not going to reject you anymore. I am going to work with you. And I ask that you step into this new role and see it as a promotion, if you will. You get to be anything you want. You get to create this persona that's going to deliver the message of the divine. The divine is going to pour through me and communicate outwards through you. And we will show the way. We are the way. We will be the way. So in this space, bring in that blue-white light and connect to the divine frequency. And let the divine move in to all of you. Expanding outwards. Till you become everything and nothing all at the same time. And then ask the divine in this space. We'll bring in the particles of possibility to show you the potential and the future patterns of you living with this super mini me. This super ultra ego that is your soulmate, that is going to inspire, uplift, and carry you to heights beyond your comprehension. And we'll just sit here for a few moments as the divine shows you all the potential for this future pattern. Beautiful. I'm being guided to do an Om code. One moment as I connect to the universal master self. Pulling out negative 11, 8, 9, 7, 4, 11, 9. Moving it into random form. And then behind the double helix to through the divine to expression positive 33, 22, 9, 1, 8, 4, 5. Locking it in. Going into the bonds of the hydrogen atoms, sending electric responses to every cell, moving in the most divine, calculated way, transmitting this new code to every cell of your being. The space between the cells. And then expanding beyond that into oneness. We are one. We are the way. I am the way. I am. You are forever changed. You are beautiful. You are loved. You are the light. You are the way. We love you. It is complete. Thank you. Amen. I love you. It is done. So I'll just let you sit in these energies. And as you said, I'm sure a lot of things will come through. I was shown this process when Jules opened up the guidance for or frequency for this pattern to happen. And it really did change my life, and it is done. It is complete. It's time we work with our mini me's in the most beautiful, positive, soulful way, so that we can express the divinity through that. And that is my heartfelt message for you all. So I will leave the door open for conversation.
Thank you, Liane. I absolutely love it. And what I love about when we get to this level of what we just experienced is that our ego or our mini me become personas, and we can pull on different ones. Just it becomes a game of like, ooh, what am I going to bring through now? And we can express the divine through these different personas, knowing that we're using the personas as expression, even though you could say that it's connected to the mini me, because we're still in that place of reflection. But it does get so fun. And I love how that was just so beautiful and amazing. And I feel awesome. Do you guys feel awesome? I feel awesome. Thank you, Liane. So let's open it up to reflection or questions. Does anybody have something they'd like to share? Is everyone just like, whoa? That I think I'm feeling your amped up energy. Go ahead, Joshua.
Thank you, Liane. That was so beautiful. Wow. So I wasn't expecting this at all, but I came to a place of a celestial body that was very rose colored. It was like this brilliant pink. And I don't typically play around with the pink color, but this pink ray came through very strongly. And I saw a whole world within this pink ray. I was experiencing emotion and textures, and there was like a blue light, almost like another celestial body, like a sun that was illuminating this other body. So I zoomed in a little bit. I was like, what's going on here? And it's like you can always zoom in and there's just like another universe. Anyways, I saw so many amazing things, Liane. Thank you so much. I was very emotional with that. Thank you.
Thank you, Joshua, for sharing that. That is just absolutely beautiful. And it doesn't surprise me at all that you had that experience. I love it.
Thank you.
Thank you, Joshua. That is, I love to hear kind of what other people experienced when you kind of turned around and looked at yourself from that space. Lisa, not that you have to talk about that, but go ahead, Lisa.
Yeah, I just thank you. It was very emotional for me as well. So I used to do this. I used to play with this when I was out in my pasture. I had this rock that I would sit on. And so when I was looking at myself from this perspective, it was just like so beautiful to see how how far I've come in my way of being, in my consciousness, in my owning my divinity. And then when we traced it back, it's like how I've always been this, just in not feeling expressed, not being not having the ability or the strength or the courage or whatever it was to be expressed as my true divinity. And so it was so amazing. Thank you so much. Beautiful, beautiful. Just amazing. Thank you.
Thank you. Let's see. I think Karen, you were next.
Hello, everybody. Liane, that was so beautiful. And I hope this comes out right. I don't share too often. It was such a magical gift. I think because of separation, when I was born as a child, so much sadness and continued through my childhood. And then it's so interesting to be in a position where I don't have children, I don't have a rich family life. And so upon going back down the timeline, I was shown all these positive occurrences that have been kind of covered up by my ego. But then when I turned to face my ego, just so much gratitude to my ego having these experiences and taking them on, because I think if I wasn't provided that in my childhood, I wouldn't have had the strife to become the spiritual being that I am at this point in time. So it was a beautiful merging, and it was just so lovely. And I do see the mini me being a pliable tool to encourage manifestation after inspiration and intuition. And so all lovely. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Liane. Thank you, Jules.
You're so welcome. I just wanted to reflect back that you actually said that just so beautifully. And I'm so happy that you took that with you and you got that gift.
Liane?
Can you hear me? Yeah. Thank you, Liane. That was just absolutely phenomenal. I'm just so grateful. And I'm sitting here a little fuzzy-headed even, because I feel like the integration is happening. It's here. And when we went into the retreat and we did that moving in and out, that we started with to move into the frequency, and it was like, I've always had this adversarial role with my ego. I'm just always trying to kind of, stop talking, and when we did that back and forth all weekend, it's like my mind at night, it gets really active, and I'll wake up and it's really chattery. So I'm waking up at night and it's chattery, but instead of beating it up, I'm doing the into it and then merging with it and holding it, the merging into the energy and holding it, all of my body, all of my being, merging in and holding. And so it's been a dance this weekend doing that process. So for you to do this today is, what a gift. It's phenomenal. I'm just so happy. So when we actually did the activation or meditation, you led us through the process. I went all the way back and came, as I'm coming up, at one point, even the mind's kind of like, well, yeah, but can this really be right? The adversarial's kicking up, But as I turned around and it faced me, the ego faced me, I took both hands, and there was just such a beautiful release and merger. I don't even know that I have words for it yet. It was phenomenal. I felt the wholeness. Maybe that's the way to say it, the wholeness. So
If you don't mind, Luann, thank you so much for saying that. But as a reflection, just reading your energy, you really are, your energy is the two merged together. It's interesting to listen to you speak, because I can really feel that unity between the two now, and it does feel very collaborative. And yeah, so thank you.
oh, thank you. Yeah, I feel it. My brain's changing.
Love that. And we are sending you lots of high vibes right now as well, Liane, just to boost your healing process. Let's see, who was next? Let's go with Gabriella and then Ashara.
Thank you. Whoa, Liane. Powerhouse, all right. Bringing the process really allowed and is allowing the journey from separation into unity, and the word says we merged and came into the now was what we called ego has now connected or united with our higher self and beyond. And the way you guided us through this and even holding us now, what I love so much about this and honor this in you is the core strengths of that, you're holding this core strengths here in this energy so steadily. That is just, it's exquisitely beautiful, and I really, really honor that. And it's as we're even sitting now in this space, it's just deliciously divine and extraordinarily powerful. Thank you so much. Beautiful.
That's beautiful. Ashara.
Yes, Liane, I'm just looking at the chat. I'm looking at Sandy's comment. Thank you, Angel Liane. You have the energy of an angel, honestly, and the ability to make us feel so safe. And I love what I echo everything everyone has said, but the thing I love best for myself is how you've given permission for us to embrace the ego, because the ego gets demonized all the time. And to embrace that is because the ego is part of us, right? It's part of everything. It's part of the whole. So thank you so much for that, because I just think it's important for us to go, and I also, what Karen said, very much for me too. I don't have that, what a lot of people have, that personal life that people have. And looking back on my life, there are so many rich experiences, and a lot of them were created by my ego. So, it's important to acknowledge that. So thank you for that permission, and thank you for your beautiful angel self.
Thank you so much, Ashara. And I'm going to invite you and take it one step further. Your ego perhaps presented all these experiences throughout this life. And now that you are whole into one and working together, what can you create next? Like, this is just amazing. This is your chance to shine on that stage. I see you, and let's keep playing and play with the body and see where it goes, and the world's is ours.
Thank you, Liane. I'm working on it.
Well, you're doing it.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ashara. I feel like I want to say something here, because I think that when we talk about the ego, there's so many different frequencies that the ego holds. And, at the lowest level would be unconscious programming, or the play of unconscious programming. And then as we start to become the observer and begin to see that we have kind of that ego, and then we have the divine mind, it does create this new relationship. And I just feel like this is because I didn't realize that's what I love about you guys, all of you that have been in Manifest. I don't know what week we were in when I realized there was a moment that when we talk about being the observer, that depending on what level of the ego that we're in, that kind of reflection of, creates a different experience. And what I recognized is that there are, like when I say become the observer, that the observer can actually be the ego observing itself, and that the reflection act of the divine is actually not even there. It's the ego observing the ego. And that was so fascinating to me. And so thank you. And it wasn't even one particular person that showed it to me. It was more of just having the reflection of what the observer is. But here now, as Liane is creating this beautiful dance between that, basically the programming that we all hold, and then the divine. And I'm going to say at the highest level that the ego does leave, but until then we use it. It's like kind of like it's either the ego is using us, or we're doing the dance between the divine mind and, you could say, using programming to go into expression. And that's what I call using persona. But I just felt like I had to say that because it was an awakening for me to realize that is it is one of the steps of breaking through ego, is the ego actually observing the ego. And that just kind of blows my mind now. But I just wanted to share that. And gosh, this has just been so amazing, Liane. You know how much I love you. Like, you're such a powerhouse, starseed angel, galactic, just full on expression. And so I'm sorry, I'll stop talking. And is anybody else, or do you have anything else that you want to express?
I just want to thank you for that, because that's exactly it. I think having that experience that I had with the shaman, I really got to that place, that place that we're going to. And for me, it was about finding tools so that I can support myself, the world, as we do evolve, because it's a personal journey, but it is a collective journey also. And these tools are important because so many people are about to wake up and start to live consciously. And so I'm just grateful that, Jules, you just keep like going for it, going further, and I'm right there behind you. Just keep up. So I thank you for that, and I look forward to the time that we can all sit in this space of true oneness and be there. And so yeah, I honor that in you.
Oh, I love you, honey. And then Sandy.
Liane, you really are an angel. Yeah. And I really even, what a group we are. It's just so magnificent to be having dialogue like this with all of you, and clearing away more and more of the cobwebs. It's like in the beginning, Jules, there were times when it went over my head, and now it's not a question of going over my head, but polishing. It's like there's still not 100% clarity that I'm living. But each time we have conversations like this, and we have opportunities to receive from Liane and from Liane and Luann and Kathy and you and all of the people that were brought together over this week, a weekend, it's keep on expanding the picture of where we're going and allowing us to be okay where we are. I loved, Luann, when you brought in, right now we're living in both worlds, back and forth. But Jules fine tuning it and saying, this is okay, you know, because you can know when you are in attachment or story or separateness or old programming, but you can also know, just like Ashana said, that through life, your ego has brought you magnificent experiences. And if it wasn't for the ego, I would not be here, because it was COVID, isolation. I'm on my computer. I see Laura Gailey having an interview with you. My ego goes, I don't like the weight that I am. And little did I know that it was the doorway to blast open to ascension, which is the very core of the spark in my heart that I want more than anything else. Thank you.
I just got full body shivers, Sandy. Thank you so much. Because that's exactly it. That was the message that I really wanted to come across, that our ego is as our friend, has been here supporting us all this throughout this whole process. And if it wasn't for that little not enough, I don't like my body, Jules wouldn't have been there. And that was the next. Beautiful.
Thank you, Sandy. Ooh, Joshua.
Thank you, Sandy. That was beautiful. I noticed, Liane, right behind you, those colors is exactly what I experienced. I just noticed that pink behind you. And I just wanted to expand a little bit more because I felt inclined to, that there was some sort of consciousness coming through when we were on that journey, and they wanted to listen to you. And I could feel their presence. I didn't mention this before, but I could feel their presence in this pink space. And that's exactly the color that was behind you. And there was golden as well involved. But they wanted to listen to you. And they were kind of, I was getting an aquatic vibe about them. They were kind of like watery. And also, I want to ask you a question, but it's also, because the ego, like Jules said, there's so many frequencies with that. And it's been, touch and go for me to really recognize the ego. And I kept getting this image that I was just sitting on a raft, in the water, and my ego is just a fish that I've kept on a line, and I'm holding the fishing pole, and I'm watching the ego navigate around me. I'm watching the fish swim around me, but I've been keeping myself above water and just kind of basking in the sunlight. However, I came to that, I recognized that this is a water world, and how can I navigate that? I can't stay on this raft. How can I navigate the water around me if I'm just, staying up here on this dry wood? And all of this came through. So this must be some sort of integration with this fish. And then I also tried to expand and go into the water with the fish, and I felt like I couldn't swim, like I wasn't really swimming very well, or that I thought the water was too deep. So I know this is really abstract how this is coming through, but I wanted to share that, and how you, Liane, see the ego, how you see the reimagining of the ego into the next. If you have anything to share with that, thank you.
Mhm. Thank you so much, Joshua. I love that. And I love abstracts. You're speaking my language. The water elements, for me, the message that came through, water is the conduit, just like the ego is the conduit. And that fiery energy, this painting actually is called Happiness is Fuel. That is the essence. That's the energy that goes through the conduit, which is the persona, the ego, whatever you want to call it. And where do I see it going? It goes wherever that energy takes us, and always asking for the next. And just with the intention of it's sparking that fuel, that energy to help raise the frequency all around us, so that we can hold more and more of these higher frequencies. So that's where I see it going. I don't want to label it. I don't want to give it a story. I want to challenge you to get curious and say, okay, what's next? Can I hold more? Show me more and show me the way. And it's through these spaces that we can hold more and more in this container, and we can support Jules until she disappears, because her hair can disappear. So that's what came through. I love your abstract. I hope that you're able to string all those words together and that it made sense for you.
I did. Thank you so much. Liane, do you think I should focus on merging with the fish more and maybe getting to know the fish, and because now I'm seeing myself developing my own gills and learning to breathe underwater? Do you see that as part of the reimagining?
The reimagining I see for you is really claiming that power. If you want gills, go for it. If you want to swim, go for it. It's again, I keep hearing the same thing in my head. It's what Jules said. It's time to be big and bold. And if it's time for you to swim in the deep waters, go for it, Joshua. We got your back.
Awesome. I love it. Thank you, Liane.
Thank you, Joshua. Let's see. I think we have like 2 minutes, Shirley. So let's we'll try to keep it, because I do actually have a call right after this, so we'll have to get off right at time.
Try to be quick. Mine was a really different experience, because when you said ego, I went straight to the core of the thing that created the ego that I've experienced in this life. And it was that fearful, passive, almost helpless part of me that I've always been fighting. I mean, I spent my life fighting that and resisting that and trying to compensate for that. And even before you said to, hold your hand, I was already physically holding my hand and bringing her forward.
Beautiful. And Shirley, I would just like to ask you, when you tap into the frequencies of ego now, is it any different?
Well, so I think I've been doing a lot of work with ego, and I've already embraced the ego because I already knew it was compensating for something. And I had a very strong clue as to what that was. And we talked about it today and in other sessions where, I've never been able to figure out how to deal with the totally passive, helpless person, because you have to have some energy flowing any move. So if you're afraid to move, you can't. I mean, you're so stuck because there's just no energy there. And that's exactly what I felt. I mean, I saw myself as this little girl with no energy, just needing someone to help her. That was it. It wasn't even, I didn't have to do anything but to say it's okay. So now I know. Now I know how to do that. I don't have to feel like I have to force anybody to do it.
The only words that come to me right now, Shirley, is I deeply love you.
I love you too.
Well, and that's the beauty of all the work that was the part of me that was able to go and hold her hand, hold my hand. Like it's the higher part of me holding that part of me that I left behind. I mean, that's really how it felt, is I left that part of me behind. And I just went and retrieved her, and she's joined me. So it isn't like I had to go there. She's joined me here. And that's the beauty of it, of coming to a place where you're evolved and not falling down because you're resisting. So yeah, thank you very much.
I think that's a beautiful way to end this.
So perfect. Thank you for sharing that. It was just really beautiful to see you navigate through that and bring it back to a place of empowerment, truly. So thank you for sharing. And thank you, Liane, for just holding this amazing space. Gosh, you just blow me away. I am super excited to see how you continue to advance through our changes that we have coming up as we all rise to the next. And for those of you that don't know, Liane is in our session. She's a part of the platform now as a quantum coach, and she's starting her own podcast. We'll be starting some lives in the community and also stepping into some other spaces. So definitely keep your eye out for Liane as she really moves forward in taking that big leap. We honor her in that space. And I honor all of you and how you're taking your big leaps in all of the places of your life. And so definitely don't miss our last change maker. Riley is coming back. She is so fun and so bubbly and so upbeat. It'll be a really great way to kind of end the weekend. And we'll see you all in a couple hours. Thanks again, Liane. Love you. Love you all.